Have you ever noticed how some people seem to have an almost supernatural control over the environment around them without saying a word? They don't shout, they don't beg, they simply withdraw, and suddenly everything changes. The energy shifts. People start to question, to chase after, to feel. Now, imagine if you did the same. If you stopped reacting immediately to everything, if you chose silence instead of the automatic response, retreat instead of explosion, what do you think would happen? That's where the point lies. When you stop being always available, emotionally, physically, psychologically, the world around you goes into crisis. Because people are used to controlling you through your reactions, through your impulses, through your predictability. But the day you choose to withdraw, the game changes. And those who thought they knew you realize they know absolutely nothing about you. Carl Jung said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to a better understanding of ourselves." Now think about this. When you become inaccessible, who really gets desperate? Who gets irritated? Who tries to provoke you just to elicit some emotion back? This reveals more about the other than about you. And it mainly reveals how much you are still being manipulated without realizing it. You keep giving yourself to please, to maintain peace, to not lose people who deep down were never really with you. And with every forced yes, every immediate response, every emotional reaction, you give away a piece of your energy. And at the end of the day, what's left? Tiredness, frustration, an emptiness you can't explain, but I'll tell you why. Because you are too available for those who don't deserve even a minute of your silence. This video is not about turning your back on the world. It's about choosing yourself. It's about learning what Jung called individuation, the process of becoming whole, authentic, complete. And this process begins when you understand that silence can be stronger than 1,000 arguments. That withdrawal, when it comes from awareness and not from escape, is an act of power. So I ask you now, looking into your eyes, how long will you continue to be controlled by the emotions of others? Maybe it's time to cut those strings, to withdraw, to become a mystery, because when you stop being available, everything changes. Jung said, individuation requires separation from the collective. That means learning to walk alone, not forever, but long enough to hear your own voice again. Long enough to stop confusing connection with captivity. Let them think you've changed. Let them call it selfish. Because what they can't stand is that your silence forces them to face their own noise. So yes, expect the backlash, the questions, the accusations. You might even get blamed for other people's storms. But remember, they built the weather system. You just stop standing in the rain. Silence disturbs people who depend on your chaos. They don't miss you. They miss their access to you, to your energy, your attention, your emotional availability. And when that's gone, they have to confront what's left, which for many is nothing. The most powerful kind of silence isn't cold or passive. It's chosen. It's knowing you could say something, but you don't. Because not everyone deserves access to your truth. Because peace is more valuable than being understood. And yes, it will feel lonely. But loneliness isn't the same as emptiness. Not when it's chosen. Not when it's the beginning of your rebirth. Imagine this. A life where every no builds a wall around your energy. Not to keep the world out, but to keep yourself in. Where you don't owe explanations. Where you don't overextend to people who wouldn't take a single step for you. Where I'm unavailable is a complete sentence. This isn't a retreat, it's a return. You're not going cold, you're going clear. You're not disappearing, you're becoming unfulquithable. You're not being dramatic, you're being deliberate. And when people can no longer trigger you, they can no longer trap you. Let's say it clearly. The ones who fall away when you stop sacrificing yourself were never your people. They were your pattern, and your silence is the reset button. So here's the question. Are you ready to be seen as the villain in someone else's story, if it means becoming the hero in your own? Because that's the trade, and it's worth it. When the noise fades, when the messages stop, when the guilt loses its grip, what remains is you, undiluted, undivided. And that self, that's the version of you that doesn't beg to be chosen, that chooses themselves without blinking. Every moment you protect your peace, you're voting for your future. Every boundary you hold is a declaration. I'm done being drained to keep others comfortable. And when you do this long enough, something wild happens. You stop chasing clarity from others and you start creating it within. You stop asking, do they like me? And start asking, do I even like this dynamic? And from that clarity, your real life begins. The kind where silence isn't punishment, it's precision. Where your absence is not rejection, it's realignment. Where every no is not a wall, it's a doorway. So if you're in the middle of this shift, stay there. Even if it's hard, especially if it's hard. Because on the other side is a self you haven't fully met yet. One that doesn't run on people-pleasing or guilt. One that doesn't water down their truth to stay liked. One that no longer trades inner peace for temporary approval. And trust me, when you meet that version of you, you'll never go back. If this message hits something inside you, write it below. I choose my peace. Let's see who else is walking this path. And keep watching.